Right, now I'm very excited. As I stated earlier, myself and Liam played through the terrifying Layers of Fear. It's from the Bloober Team, who their studio's over in Poland. We were invited over to the studio, but because of our busy schedule here at News to Gamers, we unfortunately weren't able to get the flights over. However, this is what technology is for. Via a Skype link, we are joined by one of the guys behind the game that finally released last week on PS4 and Xbox One. Please join me in welcoming, I'm going to attempt this professionally and in Polish, Rafał Basaj. Welcome to the show.
Hi guys, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Welcome all the way from Poland. How is it over there?
It's kind of cold, but you know, I manage.
Well, look, we've played the game and it's absolutely fantastic. Myself and our co-host, we played a good solid 2.5 hours, and I've got some clips to show you as well a bit later on of her getting absolutely terrified. It was brilliant.
Great.
So first of all, before we start on the game, tell us about Bloober Team. Tell us about the studio and how it began.
Actually, the studio is, well, relatively old. Like, it's about 8 years right now. Mm-hmm. We started like very small and a little bit unexperienced, probably. Only a few veteran members in the team and stuff like that. For most of the time, you have worked like work for hire jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
But we always wanted to make our own games, and like horror was like for always with us. There's many people in our studio who are great horror fans, and like they watch, read, and play like almost every horror thing that's out there. So that's something.
Because you guys were behind Basement Crawl as well, weren't you?
Yeah.
I loved that game. It was really good. Not a lot of people remember it, but yeah, it was. I thought it was really, really good.
You know that the idea we had for Basement Crawl really stuck with us, and because of the reception the game actually received, we transformed the game and released it a year later as Brawl, which fixes most of the stuff that people were complaining.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
And we have even given away Brawl to people who bought Basement Crawl and were unhappy with the game. So we believe we have fixed everything that people thought was wrong with Basement Crawl, and yeah, now we're doing...
Made a bigger game, and they've made an even bigger one.
Yeah, it was...
That's it. So, I mean, Layers of Fear. So, I mean, how did the concept start? You know, it's very psychedelic. It's, you know, it's quite... Yes. It's very sort of tense, and, you know, there's a lot of apprehension in there as well. So, how did it all start? Where did the concept for Layers of Fear come from?
You know, there's a lot of horror games out there, and... Most of them are survival games, games where you either have to run from enemies and hide, or you just kill hordes of them, and actually the game goes to being a gore fest. So we wanted to go deeper in the horror genre, make it more subtle, and scare people by using the atmosphere alone, which, well, not many games do up to this day, actually.
No, they don't. Not enough of them anyway.
Yeah, so... from the beginning, we wanted to make this more of a psychological horror. And the other inspiration, like from the beginning, was that we wanted to incorporate fine art to it. And that's the moment, like, everything clicked, and we had a vision for the game. Also, we were big fans of using, you know, the space that surrounds you, that's like it's called the impossible space in scientific term, stuff like that. And it all just clicked, and we knew we had a game that will be something else on the market. So we started doing Layers of Fear, and that's why we're here. Yeah,
well, it's an absolutely brilliant game. You know, I've played it start to finish and thoroughly enjoyed it. And you know,
it's great to hear.
I got scared quite a few times. I've not announced that on TV just yet until now, so I'll probably get some stick for that. But in terms of the actual concept of the game as well, like I said earlier, you know, there's a lot of fine artistry, and you know, the story itself is about a guy who, you know, he was he was into his art and he got struck by tragedy. Is that correct?
It is.
And, he sort of went mad and, he's really eager to finish his painting. And that's when it all sort of, broke loose, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is. The game is built for you to immerse more in the story. Like the painter, the main protagonist, is like an animus, and it's all done for making the immersion greater. And when you were talking about that the game is about a mad painter and stuff like that, because a few tragedies happen in his life, it's because we believe those tragedies are something that might, happen to me or you.
Yeah.
And how that can influence someone, and to actually go to a standpoint that you actually either have to take a grasp on your life or just everything goes into chaos. And that's more or less what the game is about. But if you want a broader explanation, probably you might as well try reading The Portrait of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, which was our main inspiration for the game and for the plot. The fight between what's more important in your life. Is it art or is it family? Those questions are present in the game throughout it, up till the very end of the game.
So, I mean, in terms of that, stating there that Dorian Gray was, a big influence in the game, is that why you had to sort of go into the studio, go, right, guys, here's a book, everyone read it, and, we're going to sort of evaluate it from here, this is what we're going to work with, this is one of the inspirations, how does that process come around, or is it sort of brainstorming, or?
The main designers, the lead designers, the main artists all read the book. Or at least they said, maybe they've read the synopsis. I actually don't know.
You're hoping they read the book.
Yeah, but everyone knew the book. Like, I believe it was, you had to read the book in some part of your life in school. So everyone at least knew what it was about. So everyone knew what we were working with, and it all turned out very well, I believe.
It has turned out very well. The response from what I've seen, and I'm guessing from what you've had, has been absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it really was. The Steam early access period and then the game preview on Xbox One were actually very motivating for us, because so many people were so hyped for the game and had only positive things to say about it. It was really, really awesome, and it gave a lot of motivation, power to actually finish the game as best as we could and as fast as we could.
Yeah, no, again, you've done a fantastic job, and in the space of time you've had as well, you can tell you that every little detail you've evaluated and you've researched. One thing though, a lot of people have been saying is talking about the comparisons to PT, the Silent Hills, the Can Silent Hills game. Did you just draw inspiration from PT? Was that one of the inspirations, or were there others as well?
Actually, PT was a game that opened our eyes. Like, there is a market for games like this, because horror is still a niche genre, and it is a very big niche, but it still is not for everyone. Not too many casual gamers will actually reach for a horror game. So based on that, we were like, okay, this is PT, and like this big hype that went through when it came as a demo. Like the moment, not everyone even knew that it's just a demo, or that Silent Hills will never reach the market and stuff like that. And we were like, okay, we had those few ideas before, and now it seems there's a viable market for this. So why not go and do this thing that we wanted to do for a while now, and we're not sure that we actually can pull it off. But yeah, it was like mind opening. And then again, the use of that impossible space I was talking about earlier, it was something that we had in our heads a little bit, but PT showed the proper way how to use it, and we're like, yeah, we're going the right way all the time, and we're gonna do this game. So yeah, PT definitely influenced us in a way, but it wasn't like the main influence that the game had.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, there's some fantastic, memorable moments in Layers of Fear. The puzzles always sort of leave me wondering, what's happening with this puzzle? What am I going to walk into as soon as I've got through this puzzle? Sort of that a bit of apprehension, a slight worry of what I'm about to go into. I mean, was that your intention with every puzzle? To make the player sort of wonder what's going to come straight after this?
We believe that the highest amount of fear that you can actually feel is because you are scared of the unknown. So the atmosphere we were building and what we are aiming for was to make the player actually not know anything. In Layers of Fear, it works wonders because the whole in real time the environmental changes in real time. And, the puzzles that you actually don't know what will open or what will happen behind you the moment you solve them. It was something we were aiming right from the start. We wanted to scare the people using the environment, using the atmosphere, the mood we could create. So everything was designed around this idea.
I mean, gameplay-wise as well. Although very basic in some aspects, it's very intelligent the way you've put very minimalistic sort of layers into, excuse the pun, Layers of Fear. And in the way the gameplay sort of works. Again, was that the intention of that?
Yes, it was the intention. The game is named Layers of Fear not because we scare people using different layers of the environment. It is in the game, but it's also the layers of your psychology, layers of how everything evolves, how your psyche can crumble by some different tragedies and different events that happen in your life. It's like everything is layered in the game, in a way, of course, but it all comes up to being this very big, and I know someone said once that we could be named like onions of fear, and so you can peel off the layer by layer and discover something new each time.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that was quite evident from the start actually, but all the aspects of Layers of Fear really make a complete game, and one in particular which is literally from the first second of the game to the very last is the music. The score for the game is incredible, and it really, really creates that sense of fear and dread and worry and also a thrill in some ways. Where did you seek the composition for the score from?
Actually, the music is made by Arkadiusz Rajkowski, who recently made the soundtrack to Kolat, for instance.
Yeah.
And, he's Pole. He's from Poland, and we know the guy, and he worked with us earlier, and he was just hyped about the game and said, I'm going to make the soundtrack for this. And we said, great, man.
Awesome. And well, he did a brilliant job.
he definitely did. And, the music and the sound design were probably one of the most focused items during the development.
I mean, for me, I would put it up there with some of the best scores in a game.
Wow!
I really would, in sense of because it fits so well, and it helps create that, again, without the pun, Layers of Fear. It really does. So I would go on record to say that the score is right up there with the best in any game.
Yeah, that's great to hear. When I meet Arek, I'm gonna, tell how his work is praised by you guys. So he will be hyped probably.
Please do. That would be great. Now, again, we spoke earlier, there's many, many memorable moments in Layers of Fear. If you had to pick one yourself, without spoilers, of course, what would it be?
It would be hard to say it without the spoilers, but I'm gonna say it's the scene in the basement.
Brilliant scene.
It's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And I think
again, without giving too much away, the puzzle in the library.
Yeah.
Would have to be up there with mine, you know, as you're sort of crawling along the sides. And I mean, that puzzle was fantastic, brilliant. Telephones ringing, brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, so you guys have just done an absolutely amazing job from start to finish. You know, you really have. So obviously, you know, you guys have gone from strength to strength now, you know, with Brawl, Layers of Fear. What's next for you guys? You know, are we going to see you again real soon? Are we expecting more?
Actually, we feel very comfortable creating horrors, so you might expect horror games from us. The psychological horror games,
Good.
Not, you know, the killing fests and stuff like that.
Yeah, cool.
And we already have new games coming up, and we're developing them right now. So you might expect some new games from us, at least some new news later this year. So we have a lot going on here in Bloober Team right now, and I believe there will be even better than Layers of Fear are. So yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm very excited for the announcements, and hopefully you'll bear us in mind, and we can get you back on as soon as those announcements are going live, and we'll get you back on and have a chat about them.
Always happy to be here.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And again,
likewise,
the game is brilliant. For anyone who hasn't played the game just yet, as a leaving note, what would you say to them? What would you expect them to take away, or would like them to take away from the game?
Just you know, treat Layers of Fear as a kind of experience, because it's something that will be unique to all of you. By playing the game, you know, the plot that's in the game, you learn it by walking around the house that's ever shifting and finding all those notes and items of value to the protagonist and a lot of these things. So take the time to actually explore the environment and learn the story apart from just running through it, because you will miss a lot. So if you haven't played the game, treat it as a great experience, something that you won't witness probably in too many games right now on the market.
And I'm going to back him up on that, guys. It was a brilliant game, and you should literally just treat it with, you know, by exploring and enjoying the game for what it is. Rafał, thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here.